Hello everybody, this is Kyrix with another edition of This Week in Kyrix. Today is Wednesday, November 9th, 2016, and, okay. It has to be talked about. Last night was, of course, the 2016 presidential and congressional and Senate and a bunch of other shit election. Now, my channel is not predominantly political. I do try to keep politics off my channel. It comes up in this when relevant, like I don't just, oh, this happened, but I did bring it up during the debates, and it's kind of unavoidable to talk about it. We're gonna save that for the very end, because it's kind of a thing, and if I talk about it too soon, I will not have time for the other shit that happened. So, I do not remember, there's some, discrepancy amongst me and Jay as to when this happened, but there was talk of me getting Civ 5 to play with Jay and Sammy and all them. Well, not all of them, I don't really have any other friends that have the game yet, but who knows, maybe in the future. And Jay was, he took it upon himself, because I told him I've been having money issues. You know, come to think of it, I think he might have gotten it for me last Tuesday or Wednesday, but anyway. He took it upon himself to get it for me as a early Christmas present, the whole thing. He was going to get Civ 6, but my computer was a teensy bit of a potato, so we opted for 5. Because I can do 5. Is today a holiday? I think today's the Easter egg hunt, now that I think about it. But he opted to get me 5 with all the DLC, so I've got Gods and Kings, Brave New World, all the locational shit, I've got Genghis Khan, I've got Venice, and all that other fun shit. So that's fun. I have disappeared into Civilization. I actually had to make myself stop playing so I could do this video. So, yeah. This serves no purpose other than to tidy my lawn, by the way. I just like tubing off the lawn a little bit. Anyway, he got that for me. We've been playing multiplayer together. I've been playing a lot of single-player shit. Mostly experimenting with different civs. Like, I like the Romans, I like the Japanese, I like the Mongols. So, yeah, I got a thing for conquerors. The Shoshone have some interesting techniques. I don't know if I'd play them seriously, because all their shit is early game, because let's just say the civilization as a whole didn't make it quite as far as others into the world, you know? I mean, that's probably one of the many tribes that still exists, but they're not mainstream players on the world stage, let's say. Let's be generous and call it that. So, I've kind of disappeared into that, and I've gotten progressively better. You know, that's what happens when you spend 85 hours playing one single fucking game in the span of a week. Because our first multiplayer game, I was so far behind him, I wasn't doing a goddamn thing right in this game. And part of it is because he upped his own difficulty while I kept mine average-ish. But I am leading him in everything right now. Plus, he's playing a faction he doesn't usually play. He's playing the Byzantines, I think, and he usually plays England. Because he's tired of getting landlocked at start. He kind of needs water to make his plans work. We might be starting a new multiplayer game because he doesn't like land-based trade. It just doesn't bring in the kind of money he's used to having in the game. Which is fine. It gives me more time to experiment. You know? I'm actually, cutting a bloody swath through Africa and a couple of places, because I like playing on the Earth map, you know? Gives you some idea of where you are, of where everything else is, etc. It's nice and easy to predict. And I like that. I like not having to wonder where the continents line up and how and all that other fun shit. But, yeah, I'm getting much better at playing the Mongols. Because, you know, Genghis Khan's kind of my thing. Because originally I played them very passively, like I didn't conquest things, I didn't shoot things, I didn't make an ass of myself as the Mongols are built to do. Basically, if you're not being a colossal dick to everyone and everything, you're not playing them correctly. Because the Mongols are fucking killers. It's how they're supposed to be. Well, the first time I tried doing that, it failed catastrophically, so I gave up on that attempt. I've since learned how to take city-states and actual cities, and now I'm quite prolific at it. You know, like, I've wiped one whole nation out of the game. I took India out, and I'm working on the Shoshone now. I've taken every city-state currently in Africa, and half of the Shoshone states as well. States, I mean cities. And the only reason I'm having any difficulty at all is because the Mongolians have a unit called a Keshik. I think that's how it's pronounced. Give me a second here. Which are the historical Mongolian horse archers. And they're considered a medieval upgrade. They replace knights, which I think is stupid because technically they should replace horsemen, but they'd be broken that early in the game. Because they move 5 spaces, and they get to attack, and after they attack, they can use the rest of their movement. So they're kind of broken. A little bit. So, yeah. Mongolians, a little beastly. And the reason the Shoshone are able to hold out is because they're in the fucking woods. Which cuts out my mobility advantage enhancement. And I'm having to work around that. Fortunately, their whole town is paved, so I'm basically using their own roads to fuck them up. Like you do. And making good use of it. It's working out pretty well for me, all things considered. Not so good for the Shoshone, but pretty damn good for me. Hero clicks. I'm a little short on money. I think I'm gonna make it this month just fine, but I've been a little short on money. So, we were gonna do either a Joker's Wild draft or Turtle draft. I had voted for Turtles because 5 Turtle boosters, pretty damn cheap, you know, we're looking like 12 bucks or so. I could manage that. One of the guys suggested a half and half, 400 points, you know, a Joker's Wild booster and 5 Turtles, or like 10 Turtles or whatever, or 2 Joker Wild boosters. I ended up going the half and half, the Joker and the 5 Turtles. And I got my ass whipped. And it's all Shredder's fault. Because I pulled Donatello, who went on my team. He's amazing. For those who know Hero Clicks, what he does is he has Defend with a 17. You push him, he gets an 18. He's got Leap Climb, which is mildly useful. He's a swimmer, which makes him good on a water map. And he has a special Outwit, where if you outwit someone, you roll a d6, and on a 5 or 6, you get to outwit again on the same character. So that's good. That's kind of broken, actually. I pulled Raphael, who I didn't end up playing. He has a power where basically he has Shape Change, which is a d6 before he's attacked, and he can just not make the attack happen. And Battle Fury, which precludes him from using any kind of ranged attack, but also makes him ignore other character Shape Change. Pretty easy. He also has a power where your opponent cannot use Blades, Claws, Fangs, which is roll the d6, replace your damage with that, but he can. Like, if they're adjacent to him, they can't use it, but he can use it normally. Because that power is in that power. I opted not to use him. Kinda wish I had. He was Indomitable, which means I can use him twice in a row. Rocksteady, which is the Rhino henchman. He's just kind of a big dumb brute. He's got a ranged attack, but I don't think I ever used it. And he gets bonuses if Shredder's on the board, and I pulled Shredder. And Shredder is a fucking killing machine, especially with Donatello. His whole shtick is that if you, how to English, Kyrix, how to English. Ah, one of these. His whole shtick is that, he gets a +1 to his defense for every enemy within 3 squares of him, regardless of line of fire. So I would put him in a cluster of enemies and put Donatello next to him to share the 18, because Shredder defaults to a 17. So he'd be 18 plus 3, he'd have a 21 defense, and that's damn near impossible to crack. You know? The problem is, Shredder also has an ability where, once he dies, he immediately blows up, hits every character within 3 squares of him for 3 penetrating damage. Rocksteady shrugs that off because he has Invincible, which is basically immune to penetrating. But the rest of my team got nuked because short dials. And that killed me in both of the games that I lost. Because Shredder is kind of designed so that, how to say, so that you keep a lot of characters close to him. Because yeah, he can take tokens off of Foot Clan. Rocksteady gives him Empower so that he gives Rocksteady more damage, you know, if he's adjacent. There's all sorts of reasons to bunch up around him. And with Bebop and Rocksteady, it'd be fine. Plus Donatello has Defend. You see where this is going. I also pulled a Foot Soldier who has this neat little segmented staff where I can basically attack 3 guys adjacent, hit him for 1 damage, and kill him. It's conditionally useful. It was not very conditional. Oh, hello. In my previous game, or in any of my games, because I never got to attack with him. He always died right away. But, hey, it was like 30 points. I pulled Green Arrow, who I didn't end up using. I pulled Amanda Waller, who was the worst Amanda Waller we've ever had. Didn't use her. Pulled Harley Quinn and Killer Croc, who basically stuck next to each other for the entire game, sharing each other's attack. And, oh, Merlin, a Green Arrow villain. Really, really awesome. Never got to use his cool trick, though. His cool trick is that if you shoot at him, I roll 2 dice, compare it to your attack roll, and if my roll beats your roll, I shoot your shot right out of the air. I mean, how cool is that? Never got to use it. No one ever shot at me the whole fucking game. Kinda stupid. But they're not bad figures. I'm not pleased in general with any of the new sets. Not with Joker's Wild. Haven't really played with Spider-Man, you know. Don't much care for the Turtle set. Mostly because, A, figures are getting cheaper and shallower. The dials are getting real low. Like, I had... Most of my figures were like 4 clicks or less. Like Harley Quinn, 3 clicks. Amanda Waller, 3 clicks. Fucking Green Arrow, 4 clicks. You see where this is going? When the norm used to be 6. 4 clicks would be like a police officer. Like, oh, Central City Cop. 4 clicks alive. He's really weak, guys. Well, that average Central City Cop can take a bigger punch than Harley Quinn could. Who's an actual supervillainess. Or, let's call her a super criminal, I guess. Because she doesn't have superpowers. Other than crazy. And boobs. She is a pretty good-looking girl. And adorable when she's not homicidal. Like, if you ever seen her in the animated series, which is what she's from, don't let any weird... If you run into a comic book nerd who says that she's from the comics first, they're lying. She debuted the animated series, and they liked her so much they put her in the comics. Just like X-23. But there were episodes where, rather than being Harley Quinn, she was Harleen Quinzel. And she's kind of cute. She's adorable. Like, she was that way a lot with Poison Ivy. There was the episode where she got paroled, you know? Which had one of the funniest fucking scenes ever from Batman. And there are quite a few funny Batman scenes, but this one's probably one of my favorites. She's being taken through Arkham. I don't know if she's being locked up again, or if she's just being taken to her cell or something. And she runs across Scarecrow. He's being just dragged, kicking and screaming, literally to his cell. He's just, you know, just threatening them to kill them, to make their lives a living hell, just blah, 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 blah. He's like, hiya, Dr. Crane! And he pauses mid-rant, hello, child, and then right back into threatening the fucking cops again. just watching 2 former psychiatrists, because that's a thing. Harleen, was a shrink at Arkham. Remember, that used to be her job. That's how she met the Joker. And Dr. Crane, can't remember his name, his first name, but Dr. Crane, you know, the Scarecrow, was also a psychiatrist. You know, his whole thing was fear. And Harleen's whole thing was fucking her patients, apparently. Or at least one of them. But, yeah. It was just a great moment. You know, it's very silly but very cute to say that, hey, these are people who spend a lot of their time around each other. Some of them are probably friends. You know? I mean, granted, Joker himself doesn't really have a lot of friends because he's completely batshit nuts. You know, and Harley's one of the few people who doesn't recognize that, or she doesn't care. Both are equally likely with her. But she, on the other hand, is generally a sweet person. Still evil, still crazy, but sweet. You can be both, you know. And when she's away from Joker's influence, she's fairly bubbly and friendly. Well, she's always bubbly, but she's fairly friendly, especially with some of the other villains, you know. So it's kind of funny to see that these two people just have that casual rapport with each other, you know. And it's just kind of a cute moment. But anyway, kind of digressing. I got my ass kicked. But it was kind of fun. I got home in time to watch the election. And I guess I'm out of... Well, no, I can talk about other things. Just got back from Walmart, bought a turkey. Nice, big, 22-pound little bastard for like $15 and some change. You know. Was a bitch to get home on the bike, because the bike kept wanting to steer me in the direction of the handlebar that it was on. And when I carried it back in, it actually made my hand go numb where I was holding it, like my middle finger or so, because I had it looped. For like 10 minutes. It took a while for my circulation to come back and the tingling to stop, but I got it. I got my turkey. Also got some wet food for the girls. You will probably hear their alarm go off during this recording. Maybe, maybe not. Who knows? Who can say? I'm kind of dragging this out on purpose. Both so I can talk about it, and so I can waste as much time not talking about it. Yeah, got a turkey, got that. No word from any of my potential employment zones. So, the election. First off, I want to say I want to say three things that damn near everyone, regardless of faction, can agree on. Number one, this is not the race that most people wanted. Most people who voted for Hillary didn't want to vote for Hillary. They wanted to vote not Trump. But if given a chance, they'd have voted for Bernie or someone else. And not as many, but a lot of people who voted for Trump didn't want Trump, they just didn't want Hillary. Like, I have a friend who didn't particularly care for Trump, but he hated Hillary more, kind of a thing. So A, this was not the election any of us wanted. B, this was an ugly goddamn election. This was... oh my god. I mean, if you ever thought mudslinging was a thing before, no. This was fucking dirty, ugly, unprofessional on all sides. You know? I mean, Trump can basically say, oh, I never ran negative attack ads. No, you just said it in person, you know? But I'm not going to deny Hillary did some ugly shit too. They both did. It was not a good fight. You know, this was... I mean, John McCain and Obama were fairly cordial to each other. You know, even Romney, to an extent, didn't get that nasty. And Romney fucking hated Trump. I've basically watched a video where he tore Trump a new ass, like, oh, this guy, he's everything that's wrong with the country, etc. And people are like, well, she cheated Bernie out of the primaries. Probably did. I didn't pay much attention to the backstage politicking. She probably did. And I think whether she did or not, the fact that Bernie wasn't the front runner hurt the election. Because if Bernie had won, if Bernie had been the nominee, Trump would have been just obliterated. Because a lot of people who voted for Trump wanted to vote for Bernie because they didn't want the establishment. Again, my friend falls into that category. If Bernie had been there, there would have been no question who he voted for. Same with one of my roommates. No. Now, here's my problems. Like, I had a long discussion with my friend. He's convinced that Hillary's going to start World War III, and I told him, no, I don't think so. He's like, well, she's corrupt. I'm like, yes, that's why I don't think so. Because, fun thing about corrupt people are all about maintaining their power base. They want to stay in power. Well, who the fuck wants to stay in power of a smoking room? He's like, well, what do you mean? I'm like, if You can't stay in power of a fucking post-apocalyptic world. Not when you're like Hillary Clinton or Donald Trump. That's when you need a warlord. That's when you get your Genghis Khan types. Yes, Kyrix is going off on his whole Genghis Khan worship thing. And that man, seriously, some of those ancient conquerors are practically a religion for me, and that's, you know, big fan of Genghis Khan. Monster, don't get me wrong, the man did some evil shit. But reasonably progressive as far as homicidal conquerors go. You know, for his time, pretty fair guy. You know, freedom of religion, didn't necessarily burn your town to the ground when he attacked. Don't get me wrong, he stole everything that wasn't nailed down, but there was a system for it as well, where if you surrendered in a reasonable amount of time, he basically took your shit and left. You know. Of course, he also did some pretty nasty shit, like, hey, let's catapult plague victims into their town and let them die of the plague, kind of thing. So, I think he might have also used captives as human shields. So again, not a nice guy, but consider the time, that's kind of par for the course. But, what was I talking about? I completely lost my train of thought. So, I'm actually gonna need a minute because I completely lost track of what I was fucking talking about. Actually, do I have any more cauliflower seeds? I do not, but I need one of this. Okay, oh wait, let's go back, let's backtrack. Okay, not the election any of us wanted. Ugly election, what was the third thing? Ooh, these berries are in. They're damn near worthless, but hey, salmon berries are still a money source, so let's go for it. There was a third thing, damn it, remember what it is. Come on, Kyrix, think. You little shit. Oh, the electoral college is bullshit. This is the second time, as someone said, in 16 years, that the person who won the popular vote was not president. Because of the fucking electoral college. Get rid of that shit. We have the technology to count every goddamn vote. We need to count every goddamn vote. This is bullshit. Oh, that's what the line was. So yeah, I think we can all agree on that too. Even though the electoral college granted Trump the White House, and it fucking did. And keep in mind, they were still counting votes as I'm saying this. For all I know, by now it could come out, well, actually Trump won it by like 37 votes. And I think it's bullshit that they call an election before every vote is in anyway. Which is another reason to scrap the Electoral College, because then they wouldn't do that. Because there's always the chance that someone else will come in, you know? Not this year. One of these. And anything else? Sure, one of these. Why not? Let's grow something new. So yeah, Electoral College, completely crap. Nobody wanted these candidates. And ugly election. Now, for me, not pleased. And like I tell people, I'm not a Hillary supporter, I was just a Hillary voter. Because Gary Johnson, as far as I'm concerned, ideologically just as bad as Trump. Jill Stein, science denier. Do not like those. That alone is a deal breaker for me. You know? Maya, it's okay. Quit playing with the cat. If you don't want to get scratched, don't play with her. She's got knives in her paws, sweetie. She will use them. But my main concern, my friend, the judge, he's such a... He is very much a watch the world burn person. He basically said, I'll vote for Bernie to fix the system, and I'll vote for Trump to burn it all down, you know? And he's excited, because he really wants shit to go down the drain, and doesn't realize that someone else might want to live through the next fucking cycle. So he tries to, he's texting me on, like, oh, Trump's winning, I'm like, and he calls me up, he's like, I'm feeling good, I'm like, I don't care. Look, you're really sour about this, man. I'm like, yes, because I'm fucked now. I basically said, look, there's a Republican in the presidency, in the White House. There's a Republican majority in the House and in the Senate. Social Security's fucking gone. And I can't get a job. I've been trying, and I haven't got so much as a callback in the entire year. They're not gonna touch it. I'm like, bullshit, that's their whole fucking platform. He's like, well, they're gonna do the shit they said they're gonna do. Like, they're not gonna overturn Roe versus Wade. I'm like, oh, yes, they fucking will. Like, it's too popular. I'm like, no, it's not. He doesn't follow politics like I do. He hasn't heard these people say this shit. He hasn't seen them campaign on this shit. You know, this is their whole platform. You know, this is like, saying that Norman Osborn wouldn't run on a platform of killing Spider-Man, you know? It's kind of his whole trademark. And that concerns me, to say the least. You know, it's just... yeah, I basically won't have any kind of income if that happens, and odds are pretty good that it will. And like my roommate said, well, I don't think they're going to mess with your disability, but your food stamps are going to get either cut or just gone completely. I'm like, yeah, that's just as bad. Because as it is, I make enough so that I can barely manage the bills, barely feed the pets, and maybe go to McDonald's twice a month. I don't really make money. And feeding myself and paying my bills and having any kind of a life are going to be impossible if they cut either my disability or my stamps. I'll be done, you know? And not to sound melodramatic, but it's pretty much a very good thing that I do this whole record in advance thing, because if shit goes south, and it might, it very well might, then I might not be able to record for a year or more. You know, if I can't have a house or a place with electricity and internet, I can't do shit. You know? And it could very well end up that way. Because if I don't have my check, roommate definitely won't cover for me. Even if he could. He won't. You know, I'll be fucking gone. I mean, nothing against him. I mean, if I can't help pay the bills, there's no reason to keep me here. But, best case scenario, I'd have to move in with Mom, hope they didn't cut her Social Security, and hope I can get a job to pay it. You know? And as things are going, that's not very likely. But I have a couple hopes. And no, one of those hopes isn't that they'll wise up and not do this shit. That would be nice, but I consider that more of a fantasy than a hope. There is the fact that the Republican establishment and Donald Trump hate each other's fucking guts. He hates Paul Ryan, he hates McCain. They both despise him. Romney can't stand him, although he's a governor, not in the Congress, but nonetheless. And there's every chance that he either won't toe their line, or that they won't toe his. The Republican Party, as of late, has been very fractured over this whole election, and it might continue to split. And you might see people finally say, you know what, fuck this, I'm tired of towing your line and pulling your bullshit. I'm gonna vote my conscience for a change. Which, to be fair, will result in a lot of the same stuff. But I guarantee you that there are some senators and congressmen who have been made to vote for shit that they don't believe in. I believe that wholeheartedly. Because to believe otherwise is to believe that they absolutely hate poor people and non-Christians and Democrats. And some of them do. But I refuse to believe that even a sizable majority of them do. Because, you know, that I just can't see that really. But there is the chance that I will be surprised. And if I am proven wrong, if these programs don't get cut, if Roe v. Wade isn't canceled, if he actually doesn't deport Muslims, if he actually doesn't try, he won't build it, but he tried to build the wall, if he actually does bring back jobs, if he actually does root out corruption, if he does these things, I will gladly come on here and say, you know what, Trump? I misjudged you, and I'm sorry, and I was wrong. I don't think I'm going to be made to say these things. But you know what? A lot of people don't like being wrong. I relish the chance to be wrong about this. Make me wrong. Prove me wrong. Prove to me that I have horrifically misjudged you. You know what? If that happens, if I am proven that wrong, if I find out that he actually is even a decent president, I'll take first term George W. Bush, like pre 9/11, before he went all warmongering, when he just was kind of this derpy guy in the White House. I'll take that. If I even get just that out of him, where he doesn't destroy too much shit, I'll apologize, you know? I'll fucking find a way to email him and personally apologize, and I'll come on here and say, you know what? I'm sorry, I was wrong. And if he actually does a good job, then hell, this could be the first time that since Bill Young died that I would actually be willing to vote for a Republican for anything. I don't see the last one happening, and I sure don't see the first one happening. But if they do, I'll be glad. Because it'll mean that the worst didn't happen. There is, however, a flip side. All through this election, to the Trump voters, I've heard it said to them, and I've said it to them myself, told them all the shit that's gonna go wrong because of Trump. And they're like, no, this is gonna be awesome, this is gonna be awesome, this is gonna be awesome. Because you ignored family, friends, and complete strangers on this. Because you voted him into power, despite all evidence being that that was a very bad thing to do. You hereby forfeit any right to bitch about anything he does. And in one of my more mean-spirited moments, I was telling Jay about my aunt who was just going on about Trump, and I told him, and I firmly believe this, that I hope Trump's policies absolutely destroy her life. Oh shit! Forgot about that! Jesus Christ! Well, this is indeed the monster farm! Let's get inside before I die. So yeah, I really hope his policies fuck her over. Because they're probably gonna fuck me over. And I want to see her come online and bitch so that I can tell her, no, this is what you wanted. This is awesome. I'm glad that this is going wrong for you. I'm glad that this is going wrong for you. Because you know what? You put that in office. You bought it. You enjoy it. But, like I said, as cathartic as that would be, I don't really want that. It's one of those cases when you're a kid and your mom grounds you. You want her to die, but you don't really. Like, I hope you're driving down the street and get in a car wreck and die. No, you don't. And I want to say that I don't want her life to be ruined because she's my aunt and all that. But I really, really have this remarkable ability to write off people that just piss me off. The reason, and I'm being honest here, because this is my channel, and this is my spot to be honest. Hold on. The reason I hope his policies don't fuck her over is because she's better off than me. And if she's fucked, then I'm double fucked. But you know what? I will say this. Please prove me wrong. Please tell me that this was an overreaction. Please tell me that in 4 years I will come back to the November 9th, 2016 This Week in Kyrix video and watch this, which isn't going to happen, I don't fucking watch these, but I'll watch this and go, wow, dude, you were so wrong. You know, I'm ashamed that I was this stupid. Please prove me wrong. Because if you prove me right, I probably won't be able to do this much longer. Now, I apologize for the political nature of this, but you gotta realize that even on non-political channels, this is a thing that has to be talked about, because this is a big moment. Even if it wasn't so polarized, just the election in general is a big deal, you know? I don't think McCain versus Barack Obama was that big of a deal at the time, because I don't think McCain could have or would have screwed things up worse than Bush had, and would, I think in many cases, have even done better. I was actually on the fence to vote for McCain until he picked Palin as a running mate. If he had picked someone else, like, say, Romney, just off the top of my head, I'd have probably voted McCain. It would have literally been a coin toss. I'd have gone into the voting booth, flipped a fucking coin, heads McCain, tails Obama, boom! Oh shit, guess I'm voting McCain, you know? I would have done that. Because I liked both of them as people. It actually came down to the vice presidential thing, and I wasn't too impressed with Biden, but I sure as hell wasn't impressed with Palin, because I knew her beforehand. I knew of her. And I didn't like what I knew. And you know what? As far as Republicans go, I didn't mind Romney. You know, I wasn't going to vote for him. But if he had run this year versus Hillary, I might have voted for Romney. If Romney had been the front runner and he had won instead of Trump, I wouldn't be making this message. I'm like, well, Romney's president. Congrats, Mr. Romney. Let's see what you do. Because Romney's many things, but batshit insane and politically retarded, he is not. You know, depending on what your opinion of Mormonism is, anyway. But, and I saw something on Facebook today that I wanted to reply to, but I was too fucking drained and lazy to do, which is, it's like, how come no one's congratulating this woman because she did something no one else has, a woman who ran a successful political campaign, and it was talking about Kellyanne Conway. People who've watched this, and what the fuck is wrong with you if you have, should know that I've actually been singing the praises of Kellyanne Conway. I think she's a brilliant campaign manager. But she did not run a successful campaign. And you're probably thinking, well, Kyrix, her candidate won. Yes, he did. But not because of her. Because throughout the fucking campaign, he has refused to do a single goddamn thing they've tried to get him to do. At one point, they literally confiscated his Twitter just to keep him from fucking himself in the ass with it. So no, Kellyanne Conway did not manage a successful campaign. She was part of a campaign that was successful. And I don't say that to demean her in any way, shape, or form. I had said, back when I thought Trump couldn't win, that if she'd had a real candidate, he would have won. I'm really not, well, I am to an extent sure how he won. Part of it was the fact that they kept harping, oh, Hillary's going to win by a landslide, which had two effects. Undoomed actually mentioned this, but he left this the second part of this out. The first part being it convinced a lot of Hillary voters to just stay home because they figured their vote wouldn't matter because they already had it in the bag. The second thing is it scared the Trump voters to the polls. And that's a big deal. That's the part Undoomed left out. And I think that played a part in it is the fact that when you hear the other person's going to win, the one you don't want, it motivates you to get off your ass and vote. You know? And that's what happened. And there's a thing. I've heard of this in Australia. I think Canada does it. And I think they said one of the cities, like maybe Los Angeles, San Francisco does this. There's a policy on the ballots. And we should enact this. This is a good idea. It makes it so that things don't go third-party fuck-up. Where you have two votes. Like, okay, I'm going to vote Jesse Ventura as my first choice and Hillary Clinton as my second. And by the way, I wish Jesse had run. I would have voted for him. I'd have fucking campaigned for Jesse Ventura. And yes, that is Jesse the Body / Governor Ventura. Former governor of Minnesota, former WWF wrestler, you know. And he's a bit of a conspiracy nut. And, you know what, I'll get over that. But he's also someone I trust to get shit done. Because he's a guy who gets shit done. I also like the fact that he's a guy who could physically beat the shit out of anyone in Congress. If they act up. You know. But, and let's say, for example, the votes tally in and Jesse in my state, that is Florida, does what Gary Johnson did and pulled 3% of the vote. They're like, well, he doesn't get, and this is in the electoral vote system, well, he's obviously not getting it, so he goes to your second choice, which would have been Hillary. Now, I'm not saying that the Gary Johnson vote in Florida pulled from Hillary. If anything, I think it pulled from Trump. But nonetheless, he had enough that if Hillary, if even half of those had been, well, let's say 2/3 of those, had been for Hillary, she'd have won Florida. And of course, if they'd been for Trump, it wouldn't have changed a goddamn thing. But 3% in a vote that was literally a percent apart. I think he had like 49 or he had like 47 and she had 46 or some shit like that. It was that fucking close. 3% makes a difference. And it would encourage people to actually vote third party. We could get a third party candidate in office. Like, let's say we had Trump, Jill Stein, Gary Johnson, Hillary Clinton, and Bernie Sanders each running on their own platforms. Well, for one thing, there wouldn't have been a vote for Hillary. Bernie would have gotten it all. Likewise for Trump. But let's just use my earlier example and replace Bernie with Jesse Ventura. You know, that would make a lot more people willing to vote for Ventura because they knew, okay, if no one else is on board and no one else votes for Jesse, my vote will still count for my second choice. We need to institute that. We need to get rid of the Electoral College. And we need to have some kind of system for the debates where they have the monitor has a fucking squirt bottle full of vinegar water. And every time the candidate interrupts, and it's not just Donald, Hillary did it too, but not nearly as much, the moderator squirts them in the face. Because you don't want to get squirted in the face with vinegar water. It smells horrible. And if you get too much of that, it's going to ruin the debate for you. And that will teach candidates to shut the fuck up when it's not their turn. You know? We need to civilize the debates. We need to start outlawing negative campaigns, or at the very least, make them go through a fact-checking thing so that you can't have false shit. Like, and I'm too out of it to really discuss the actual things, but let's say back in the Obamacare debate, the death panels thing. That was objectively false. And they ran ads for it to try and get Obamacare shot down before it even started. Legally, that should have been illegal to run an ad like that, because I know sure as hell McDonald's can't run an ad that says Burger King fries will poison your children. Eat McDonald's fries, they're better for you. They'd get sued into oblivion for that, but they can run the death panels ad? No, bullshit. Fact check that shit. Our country is uneducated and ill-informed enough without putting blatant lies and factually wrong bullshit onto the airwaves for something as important as an election. And even in the off year, in the midterms, when it's just Congress, the Senate, shit, that's important. And I'm calling bullshit on another thing they did, and by the way, I would do the same thing if the Democrats had pulled this. The fact that Trump is getting a free Supreme Court justice simply because Republicans decided to wait until the election. When Scalia died like 6 fucking months ago. It's probably closer to 3, but I'm saying 6 to be dramatic. And they refused to even consider taking Barack Obama's suggestion. Wouldn't even look at the candidates for the new Supreme Court justice. Because they wanted to take the chance that they get a Republican in there, and that is... I'm sorry, there should be people going to jail for that shit. It's one thing to gerrymander a district, but to gerrymander the Supreme goddamn motherfucking court? The court where once you're in until you retire or drop fucking dead? That 9 positions. 9. 9 positions on that bitch. 9. And no one has any say on it. I can't vote someone in. I can't vote someone out. I don't even think there are rules to remove you without your consent. It's entirely possible that you could commit all sorts of crimes beyond the Supreme Court and fucking cast your vote from prison. Or maybe you're exempt from prison altogether. I don't know. I kind of slept through that in social studies. I know very little. I know far less than I should about the Supreme Court. But yes, gerrymandering needs to fucking stop. You know what they ought to do? I don't know if this is viable, but I think that rather than doing districts, like, oh, this is District 12 in this county, it should be by county. And no adding new counties, unless you add a bunch of new fucking cities. Like, I live in Pinellas County, because I'm in the Tampa Bay area. So we get a representative from here. Doesn't matter if I'm in Tampa, which I think is still... We're going to say Tampa is still Pinellas. I don't know. But let's say... let's go with this. Whether I'm living in Largo, Clearwater, or St. Pete, which is all Pinellas, it doesn't matter. It's still the same candidate we're voting for. Meanwhile, someone in Pasco County, Manatee County, whatever, they get a single representative as well. No more of this district bullshit. Don't gerrymander this shit. Make it like the Senate, only more population-based, I guess. I don't know. Because the House of Representatives isn't. It's bullshit. It was supposed to be... On paper, it's a very good idea that more populous areas should have more say. Like, for example, Wyoming is not as populated as New York, despite the fact that I think Wyoming is much bigger. It's just New York has so many more people to represent, so they should have more representation, whereas the Senate is the equality branch. It's the thing where Florida, California, Rhode Island, Alaska, they all have 2 people representing them. You know? I could have gotten another 2 days into this fucking rant, and I'm sorry about that, but... Our political system is broken. I don't think Trump's the one to fix it. And I'm going to level with you. I don't think Bernie could have fixed it. I think he could have started. But I don't think Trump is capable of even starting because I don't think he understands it enough to fix it. I told my friend, Jay, I don't think he'll make his full term. And I don't mean someone's going to assassinate him, though I could definitely see people trying. Honestly, despite supporting him, I'm surprised Obama didn't have more assassination attempts. I'm surprised Bush didn't have many. You know? But I think Donald Trump has an elementary school concept of what the president can do. Because he attacked Obama over shit that he thinks he should have done, and he doesn't realize that he couldn't have done shit about that. I don't think he realizes that the president is not a dictator who can't just pass shit. And I think once he realizes that, he's not going to want the job anymore, and he's going to fucking Palin that and just walk out and leave Pence as the president. Now, I know I'm rambling on about this, but I'm going to try, unless something momentous and monumental and life-altering happens in politics, I'm going to do my best to make this the end of it. This is my video to vent, to rant, to just fucking hold a funeral for my hopes for the next election cycle. I do not think if Trump does start a war that it will be out of malice. I really don't hate him as a person. He's an asshole. He's a horrible person. But I don't hate him as a person. However, he does not belong in a position of power from what I know of him. And when I say power, I mean political authority. It's one thing to own a business. It's one thing to own a lot of businesses. But this is power on a scale he doesn't know about. This is a test he's taking that he didn't study for. You know? And this is an aptitude test. Let's say for NASA. Let's just say that before you're allowed to design rockets, you have to take a test. And he didn't take that test. And he bought his way in. Now, I'm not saying he bought the election. I'm just using it as an example for a reason where he could get into NASA. And now, a man who never took the tests, never studied for the test, knows nothing about building rockets, is now designing rockets. And he's going to get some people killed if he's not careful. Now, I wouldn't normally worry. If this had been, say... Fuck it, let's say Kim Kardashian. I just need a vapid celebrity, and that's the only thing. I don't follow vapid celebrities, or... You know what, let's be nicer. Paris Hilton. You know, she's... As far as I know, she's known her career for being a useless rich airhead. I don't know her personally. For all I know, she's a very charming woman. But that's what she's known for. That's what her whole celebrity's built on. I believe that if Paris Hilton had been elected president and was surrounded by advisors who know what they're doing, I believe she would listen. I do not believe the same of Donald Trump because he didn't do that with his own campaign managers. They've told him this, this, and this, and then they had to walk it back a couple days later when he fucking went off the script. Mike Pence had to do the same thing. The two of them were frequently at odds throughout the whole campaign. And I don't like Mike Pence, but I still feel bad for him because he really, and I hate the man, I really do. I hate Mike Pence. Don't hate Trump, do hate Mike Pence. But Mike Pence deserved a better partner than Donald Trump to be the running mate of. You know, it's really like trying to babysit a rabid dog, like a fucking Jack Russell Terrier. He's full of energy, and you don't know if he's just gonna run back and forth to the house or try to kill you with rabies. And you don't know until he's already bit you. You know, there's no warning because he doesn't know himself. But again, I am hoping against all hope that I'm proven wrong, that he does settle down and decide that maybe it'll hit him that, oh shit, I really am the president. Because I don't think he really wanted to be president. I think he wanted to run so that he could use his loss to launch his career, so he'd have something to bitch at and be famous and be back in the spotlight. And he could go on the Celebrity Apprentice as former presidential candidate Donald Trump kind of thing. I really don't think he wanted to win. And now that he's in the White House, I hope it hits him, or now that he's going to the White House, I hope it fucking hits him that, oh shit, I'm the president. What I do matters. This is important. I should study. I should listen to the people who know what the fuck's going on. I should learn what's going on. You know, I really hope he does. And I sincerely hope that Obama spends the next 4 years on social media, on talk shows, on the news, asking Trump for his tax returns and his wife's immigration papers. Just like Trump did to him over that fucking birth certificate that didn't amount to a goddamn thing. Because I'll level with you. I don't give a shit about his tax returns, and I don't give a shit about her immigration papers. If she came here illegally, I don't care, because she's been here long enough, I think. I don't know about her, but I think she's been here at least a decade. Long enough that it doesn't really matter anymore. She's here. She's an American. Yeah, she snuck in through the back door. Lots of people have. It's bullshit, but they're here now. Just let it go. The reason I care is because he's not showing this crap. And if he's gonna bitch about a fucking birth certificate, he needs to be bitched at over these goddamn taxes. And that stupid immigration paper. And you know what? When it's shown, it's probably going to be no fucking big deal. It's just going to be maybe embarrassing, like maybe he's not as rich as he said he was, but I don't fucking care. I don't. It's just that if he's going to do that to people, he deserves the same done to him. I don't think I'm overall depressed about the election. I'm not as scared as I probably should be, despite the fact that my whole entire life could come crashing down on me depending on how Congress votes and what Donald Trump signs. You know? I have no way of knowing. I mean, I'm still going to be applying for jobs. Maybe I'll luck out and get something, but it's not looking fantastic right now. I've been at this since December of last year, and I haven't got so much as a fucking callback. Nothing that even hints that I'm being considered for a job, much less that I might have it. This isn't a case of me going in and flubbing the fucking interview. I haven't even got to the interview stage. Not a single one. But I think it's my ability to compartmentalize. I mean, I'm nervous about it. I was nervous last night. I had to stay up to hear the results. I tried to fucking play Civ 5. I tried talking to Jay. I tried a whole bunch of shit. None of it. I just couldn't focus. And I'm avoiding the subject. Like, I haven't been posting shit on Facebook at all about that. I've been posting about other stuff, not about that. This is basically my Facebook post. I've been avoiding talking about it, really. I haven't brought it up with either of the roommates, really. I brought it up with the Kyrix judge because he fucking brought it up. And I am concerned. I have legitimate concerns. And Trump claims, oh, I'm going to be a president for every American. I have my doubts. Because Obama tried that and it didn't fucking work. And I'll gladly admit that a lot of the SJWs are as bad as a lot of the Trump supporters. They really are. But I don't know. I don't know. Like I said, I have a remarkable ability to compartmentalize shit that I can't do anything about. It's entirely possible that inside some little box in my head I am kicking and screaming and crying and throwing up because I'm just terrified. I'm just kind of numb about it. I don't I'm just kind of glad it's over, even though it's probably very bad for me. It's the relief that I don't have to put up with this shit anymore. I don't have to put up with these bullshit ads. I don't have to, oh, it's rigged, it's rigged. You know, I do have legitimate concerns. Like, it doesn't necessarily affect me, but Roe versus Wade is a big deal. That's, my friend's like, that's not going, it's fucking gone. Unless Trump decides not to toe the party line, or the Supreme Court justices themselves decide not to fuck with it, which I don't think they're going to make that decision, then it's pretty much gone. And it doesn't affect me, because I'm physically incapable of carrying a child, much less aborting one. And quite frankly, I don't see any woman really being into me. So I'm not going to be the result of a child that may need to have an abortion. So I also won't have a daughter who might someday have to worry about an abortion. But it's a case of, it's not about me. It's not something that hurts me, so I should at least look out for the people it does hurt. You know? And I have the cop-out answer on abortion that it's none of my business because I'm a guy. It will not come up. Even if I were to decide that I'm a woman trapped in a man's body and make a transition from male to female, it still wouldn't affect me because, to the best of my knowledge, the technology to have a man carry a child, it does exist. I've heard of a couple cases of it. They required C-sections, but it's not going to be a natural pregnancy kind of a thing. So it wouldn't be an issue with me, even in that weird situation. And I'm quite happy with my gender of male. So it's barely even a hypothetical. And even in that hypothetical, it's still not something that would concern me. But it's not my body. It's not something like, I personally would not get tattoos or piercings. I mean, not even something tame like an ear piercing, much less fucking genital piercings, eyebrow piercings, nose piercings. What? Why? Why would you tongue piercings, lip piercings? But you know what? I find it horrific to do to myself. I find it anywhere from just apathetic to disgusted, depending on what the piercing is, the extreme of it, etc. But it's your fucking body. If that's what you want to do it. Tattoos, I don't find anything that I would want permanently inked on my body, much less the pain for it. But I've seen some amazing tattoos, and I've complimented them. If that's what you want to do it. You know? It's a thing like, if you're talking mandatory piercings and tattoos, then I'm going to fight you tooth and nail over it. But voluntary, no, that's your body. Do what you want. And of course, people bring the Bible into it. That's just bullshit, because if you read the fucking Bible, and you probably haven't, you would know that abortions are in the Bible, and they are endorsed by God. There are instructions for how to have the priest abort your baby. If you suspect your wife of cheating on you, you take her in and they abort your fetus. And I believe, I don't know if the Bible does, but I think the Quran basically states that basically a child is like a parasite on the mother until like 3 months or something. I don't remember the time frame, but it basically said something along the lines of that, where it's not even a child until a certain number of weeks to months have passed. So there goes your scriptural thing. And I only mentioned Christians and Muslims, but keep in mind, the part that discusses this is in the Jewish books, so count them in too. To the best of my knowledge, Hindus, Buddhists, Confucius, Sikhs, etc. don't really have any position on this. It's mostly just the three monotheisms, and they all basically say the same thing. They're either pro-abortion, or they flat out say, no, it's not a child at conception, it's not a person until then. Again, I'm not weighing in on it because it's not something that I really have any business with. Now, in some weird hypothetical where I actually do have a woman who falls for me, and she gets pregnant, and for whatever reason, the child is something she can't go through with. I mean, obviously, in a health situation, that's something you might have to do. And of course, some Republicans are fine with that. Others say no, under no circumstances. It doesn't matter if she drops dead and the baby dies with her as long as the baby died being born, you know? But if it's a case of, oh, I can't take care of it or whatever, I would probably vote for adoption instead, but it's not my body. I will never have to bring that baby to term. And if she can't go through with it, I don't necessarily have the right to it. I would hopefully have the right to discuss it, go over the pros and cons of it, but I do not believe I would have the right to the decision. And I'm not a super feminist person, but I don't believe in enforcing me onto you, as long as you is not something that will literally affect me. And that may sound selfish, but I mean, like if it was a known fact that if you have that baby, my arm will fall off, then yeah, stab that baby. But that's not a thing, you know? And no, emotional damage doesn't count in this case. But I'm very concerned, like I said, for Medicare and Social Security and food stamps, because those are things Republicans have wanted gone forever. And Trump is so fucking rich. I do not think he can comprehend that people need this. This is a guy who's like, he took like a $14 million loan out. Yeah, it was a small loan of only $1 million. That's not a small loan, Trump. I'm sorry, I don't think there are very many Americans that would consider $1 million a small amount. You know? To put it into perspective, my fondest dream right now, as far as wealth goes, is to make $10,000 a week. Mostly off a lotto ticket, but I guess if I had a job that would allow me to do that, that doesn't kill me every day, that's a big deal. And that only amounts to $500,000 a year. A little more, you know? So I'm concerned about that because, and it's not a lazy thing. I can't get a job. I've been trying. I mean, hell, anyone who watches this, every week it's like, okay, this is lining up real good. This is looking good. Oh, fuck, I lost it, you know? I mean, if I could get a job, I would. If I had to get a job that would take me over my limit because I didn't have the option for disability anymore, I'd have to do that. You know, I might not like it, but I would do it, but it's not even an option for me. But, and there's also other people who this would badly hurt. If the Democrats had taken one part of Congress, either the House or the Senate, I'd have some hope, but right now they have majorities in both, and I don't see it going. Alright, anyway, I'm just repeating points at this point, and it's kind of depressing me a little bit to talk about it. I'm sorry to get political. For those of you who actually watch this, much less watch this far, all two of you maybe, and that's being optimistic, I will try and keep the politics out of it next week. Maybe talk about clicks, talk about, you know, Civ 5, because I've been playing a lot of it. Talk about my Pokemon project, which should almost be ready to air by then. Yeah. Let me actually look at the calendar here. When's the 18th? The 18th is a Friday. So, I'll tell you what, next week, for those of you who stuck around this long, I'm going to drop this now. Watch next week, and I will tell you 2 whole days ahead of schedule what the secret Pokemon project is that I've been keeping so secret. I haven't told anybody. And I mean anybody. I've hinted at it. I've considered telling like 3 people because they don't really watch my channel. So they're not going to interact with my fans. But I'm like, no, I'm keeping this under my hat. I even have a friend who doesn't play Pokemon, hasn't since Red and Blue. He wouldn't even know what this was if I told him. But I still didn't tell him. I literally have not told a single person about this. So this is kind of a big deal. But if you come back next week and watch this, I'm going to tell you. I'll hide it a little bit further in the videos. You can't just, oh, what's he saying? Oh, crap, that's what it is? No, you got to watch for it. I'll leave myself a note to talk about that. And, Oh, one other thing. My capture cards came in. Yay! And they work. Brand new. And I said plural. Capture cards. I bought 2. They were like $9. And that's rounding up, plus like free shipping. So, in the event that one of them breaks, I got a spare. And they do work for Windows 8. I tested them out. Brilliant. They work. It's great. The old one's just kind of sitting on the desk. It's garbage, but I just don't have the heart to throw it out right now. I probably will someday, but this thing's been with me for a while. It's sentimental value and shit. It might honestly end up just going in the drawer. You know? Oh, God. So, to the Trump voters out there, and I don't know why I'm making this speech. I've seen the analytics. Nobody watches this, much less watches it all the way through. And when I say nobody, I mean one person might, maybe 2. But to the Trump voters, congratulations. You got your candidate. And I hope he's good to you. I hope he's good to all of us. I really do. To everyone else, I'm sorry. I'm sorry that we have to go through this thing. I hope it's not as bad as we thought it would be. I think it might be bad. I don't think it'll be as bad. I don't necessarily think it's the end of the world. But I do not have a lot of confidence in where this is going to go. But I'm desperate to be proven wrong. And to everyone, regardless of who you voted for, I'm sorry we had to go through this election. This was an ugly, hateful mess from start to finish. It started bad and got worse. And I'm glad it's over. You know, I didn't get my candidate. And even if I did, it wasn't my candidate. It's just the person I voted for. I definitely didn't get what I wanted. I'm pretty scared about what's going on, and I have a lot of friends who are just terrified. I have some trans friends, which they're really scared of what's going on. I mean, keep in mind, Trump has, whether he himself is or not, Trump has a fuck ton of racist, bigoted voters. He has a lot of them. Like, Klansman level racists. As in, literal Klansmen supporting him. And these people, my trans friends, my gay friends, my bi friends, are really scared about what might happen to them. And for good reason. You know? There's every chance that they're just going to get open season and it's just going to fall through the cracks. There's every chance that we just took a jump back about 40 to 50 years in this country. There's also every chance that things are just going to go on the way they have and just keep chugging along status quo. There's every chance that Trump will decide to become a responsible candidate and surprise us all, you know? And at his worst, be George Bush Jr., and at his best, be a little better than that. There's every chance that Congress will unite with the president to destroy everything. And there's every chance that Congress will spend so much time fighting with Trump that they won't get anything done either. That he won't get anything done either. And really, we don't have to make it 4 years. We have to make it 2. Because traditionally, whenever a party has all of it, they have all of it for 2 years until the midterms hit, and then half that shit goes right out the window. You know, you see a clean sweep. That's what happened with Obama. That's what happened with Clinton. I'm pretty sure that's what happened with Bush. And I think that's what's going to happen with Trump. If we make it to the midterms, I think we're going to see a sweep. I think it's going to go from red to blue. And I do hope that he doesn't get Obama'd. I mean, people keep thinking, oh, I hope the Democrats fight him as hard as the Republicans fought Obama. No, don't do that. Don't fucking do that. Fight him, yes. Pick your battles. Don't say that nothing he does is going to pass. Because, like it or not, until we find evidence that things are rigged, He won this legitimately. This is his presidency, and he deserves his shot. I don't think he should have run. I certainly don't think he'd been elected, but he is now, and we have to fucking deal with that. The Republicans couldn't deal with the fact that Obama was elected, and they sure as hell were foaming at the mouth that he got re-elected. Be better than that. Fight him on important shit, like, oh, I'm gonna privatize the post office. No, fight him tooth and nail. I'm gonna fucking deport the Muslims. Fight him tooth and nail. And this is from a guy who doesn't like religion, period. You know, much less Islam, because Islam, people keep saying it's a religion of peace. No. Islam, when followed, the radicals are the people who are actually Muslim. They follow the Quran. That's what's in there. I've had parts of it read to me. And really, the radical Christians are the ones who follow the Bible, because it's a fucking brutal book. Don't kid yourself that the Quran is worse than the Bible, because it really isn't. They're pretty comparable in how evil they can be. The difference is Christianity and Judaism have gone through reformations to fix that shit, and Islam hasn't. But yeah, he wants to deport the Mexicans, the immigrants in general, the Muslims, ban them from the country. No, fight him tooth and nail. He wants to fucking have his budget. If it doesn't screw over 80% of America, let him put his budget up. He wants to nominate a Supreme Court justice. As much as I want to say no, wait till the next election. No, fucking, that's his thing. I don't think he should get to, because, quite frankly, Obama should go through, but that's not gonna fucking happen. Even though it happened on his presidency. But fight him on the important shit. Don't fucking obstruct. That's what pissed everyone off, is the fact that Republicans in Congress obstructed so that literally nothing could get done. To the point where Republicans were vetoing their own bills because Obama was on board with them. Just try to get through to the midterms, and let's hope things get better. And if, in the midterms, the Democrats pick up majorities, let's try and have a stable government. Let's see if he can be able to work with Congress and the Senate. Let's see if he really can make America great. I don't think he can, because I don't think he ever understood what made America great in the first place. But maybe he'll prove me wrong. So, President Donald Trump, you will never watch this. I am so far beneath your notice. I'm so far beneath any political candidate's notice. But, congratulations. I didn't vote for you. I don't agree with you. I think you're an asshole. But I don't necessarily hate you as a person. And I'm willing to give you your shot now that you're in there. Good luck. We're all gonna need it. I'll see you next week, people. Kyrix out.